That makes more sense now when you press the go live button, baby, because we're live.
Oh, God. Having a full-on conversation by ourselves.
Oh my gosh,
pretty amazing.
How did that even happen? Wow,
man.
Wow. All right, well, welcome to Record Talk Take 2, boys and girls.
It's definitely been somewhat of a week, apparently.
The most electrifying 4 minutes of Record Talk just happened for only ourselves.
That's it. It was just a special moment between the three of us.
Well, it'll never be reproduced.
Nope.
Holy God. All right, well.
Often talked about, never reproduced.
Hey, it's been a good day, right? We're having a good time. Everything is hunky-dory, all right?
It's a great album. Great album. Yeah, great album.
Great album. Let's get comfortable here. All right. We're on Record Talk. We're talking about Back in Black by AC/DC. It's a glorious record.
Is.
Now, before we dive into it, we gotta know.
What's in the glass? What's in the glass?
All right. You know what that means?
What's in the glass?
What's in the glass? The Brock, what you got in that glass there? Is it an 80s themed mug? Whoa.
It is an 80s themed mug.
Did it used to be heat changing, but something happened?
It was. It's not supposed to be dishwasher. It's not dishwasher safe, but you know.
Oh no.
Now, is there some kind of stone fruit beverage in there or no?
No. This is peach oolong tea.
Peach is a stone fruit. Yeah, cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Today.
And James,
wait, I think I'm like Nostradamus. I could predict James has got some sort of spirits. Go.
Oh, it's Chicago, isn't it?
Chicago, you're out of here. Bumblebee tuna, go.
But Rob is in fact correct. I have no idea how he could have predicted it. Or no, Brian, I'm sorry. Brian predicted it.
I'm Nostradamus. Get it right.
But I have a Brazilian cachaça. That's like a banana flavored cachaça. It's delicious. It's like the Brazilian equivalent of 99 bananas. Ooh. It's fantastic.
Dude, it's better than fantastic. You know what it is? It's
excellent.
Yes. All right. Rock and roll. Now in my glass, again, I always hide them in these paper cups. You never know. I actually had for dinner some vegetarian ramen, which was incredibly salty. So I'm just drinking water today, but it's this Essentia pH water.
Ooh.
And it has it's ionized or something like that.
Your pH levels? Do you need some chlorine in you?
Well, you know what? It's good for balancing because a lot of stuff we have is super acidic. So this is 9.5 pH or higher in each bottle. So it just tastes like water, but it's helping to balance what's going on inside of you. There's a lot happening in our diet and that
gut biome of yours.
Yeah. Fantastically.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So that's cool. What's in my glass. Now, my friends, I think it's time to start talking about some music.
Autobots, roll out.
All right.
Yes. Good old Optimus Prime. Oh, and he's got the vinyl. Look at you.
I believe this is 1980. So I think this may be the real deal.
Yeah, it looks, the
real thing.
It's either a well-loved reproduction or it is the first pressing.
That's got some good weathering on it.
Yes.
How's that smell?
Nice patina. It smells good. It's
a bit musty.
We'll talk about that smell later on. But what do you guys think of this record?
I love this album. This is one of the first albums I bought when I was younger from AC/DC, so it has a special place in my heart. But I love how relentless this is. It's not like your typical. What did you do?
There it is.
Oh man. Yeah, I just love how relentless it is, man. It never kind of gives up. There's no kind of ballads on here. There's no softer medleys. I mean, it is just boom, straight rock, straight metal, you know? start to finish, and I love that. You got to respect that, and it's the first album without Bon Scott. So I mean, to create such an iconic record after losing your singer after what 6 albums, that's rough.
And I think just we take it for granted now that it was it's just Back in Black, like it's just everyone it's iconic.
Yeah,
but like you just said, they lost their singer. Like that was the lifeblood of the band. I mean,
yeah,
Bon Scott had such a unique voice, and then these dudes are like, hey, you know what? We'll just find a guy with an even more outrageous voice.
What are the chances too?
I swear, it sounds like Brian Johnson just gargles razor blades. It's just
right,
insane. And I caught them on the
with
Black
151 proof. Just
yeah, it was Giant Stadium, the old Giant Stadium, maybe 2000, maybe 10 years ago, and dude, like he still was just singing like a banshee.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's no messing around with them. They all get up there, and for those that are around still, they get up there and they work it, man. There's no, they're one of the few bands where you're not like, I wish they would stop. Like they still bring it every time. It's killer.
And they got the formula and they just don't break from it, and it works. And I'm curious for James's opinion on this in a second, but just for me, if I may, like as not just a guitarist, but as someone who teaches people guitar, for my living. This is like every guitar player knows it. And be it, I'll just run through some of the riffs, but because we can't play the music, but if you just, everyone knows that. Okay, you know that, or I mean, come on, like right there.
Good medley you got going on there.
Just play the rest of the album.
What's up, Sam? Carolyn, how are you?
But I mean, you get past that, like even like, dude, all right, let's James, what do you think?
Yeah, let James chime in.
Yeah.
So I in typical James fashion will be the heretic here. That
Wow!
I knew it was coming.
Well, I knew somebody had to have known it was coming because the first time I listened to this album the entire way through was Monday. I have no
what?
It never latched on to me that it was something that I was interested in listening to.
Yeah.
And I came away from it still accepting the fact that I probably wouldn't listen to it much more, but I had different eyes for it after listening to it. That the whole time I was listening to it, I thought of Rob's interview with Devin Townsend, because in that interview, Devin Townsend so eloquently says AC/DC has been making the same record since the beginning of their career. And I would take it a step further and say that they haven't been making the same record, but the same song since the beginning of their career. And this is from not an AC/DC fan, just someone listening for the first time. So like a really is kind of like a tangent, but I see a lot of reaction videos online and I'm like, how is it the first time you've heard that song? Surely you've heard that song before. But in the scheme of things, like I'd heard all these songs, but it was so dismissive of them that it none of them ever stuck around long enough for me to put any kind of thought into them whatsoever. So it was an interesting process. And I think there's a lot of cool stuff about it, but I think there's also a lot of things that it's still, for me, it just kind of, it could draw on in the background. And it's just, unfortunately for me, not being a fan, a lot of it was very disposable.
Got it.
Yeah. I mean,
but
first of all, I jumped on Instagram. So Brian, if you want to come on there too,
right on.
Jumping on Instagram live just to populate you people over to YouTube, let you know that we got the new Record Talk up and running.
He has no.
Thank you so much for adding that. I wanted to tell you to do that when Brian had mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Paper.
He'd be crying himself to sleep tonight on his huge pillow.
That's a bit offsides, wasn't it?
I forgot how to do. Oh, there's how to do it. Look at that. I didn't remember how to go live with someone for a second.
Can I do this without my glasses? Let's see. Let's try it.
Okay, so it's. Did I not take you in there? He's coming. So.
Hey.
See, I'm not getting the funny sounds. I think.
Are you getting? I'm not getting.
Yeah, 'cause my
Oh, you know what? Hold on a second.
I hear
Sorry.
it. You guys hear the?
That better?
I hear. Yes, it is better. Oh, it's coming through you.
It's for me. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to put this in a way that you can't see. Hello.
I know. So I, in listening to this, James, having done music with you for, it's a terrible angle, I know. Having done music with you for so long and just knowing sort of your musical DNA, I knew that this is not a James band, because for such a phenomenal guitarist, you are certain like staples. You're just like Beatles, Stones, AC/DC, Van Halen, Chibo Motto.
Wow, Van Halen too, huh?
Zang. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Bang.
Yeah. But something I did take out of it, and I don't have many notes for this, but it's funny you mentioned that, because all of the things that you just said, I do have notes concerning. And I think a part of it for me was,
get over to Record Talk on Facebook.
On YouTube. Facebook, let's go.
I have
you can't see
very I have a very particular type of style that I like in music, and I like a lot of really high energy, and I like an assault of a song kind of a thing. And I go from that all the way to the other side of liking really calm and really sedate music. But this falls into this category that I don't really jive with in any way. Like, I don't relate to it for whatever reason, whatever the case may be. But listening to it, I started to be able to appreciate it in a different way. That you listen to like Meshuggah, and you listen to Bleed, and that's one of the most technical and brutal songs you'll ever listen to. And if you watch the band play it, they can't move. It is so complex that they are literally stuck where they are on the stage, and they cannot move. They can't take a step. They can't move forward or backwards. They can't do anything except play the song, because it's that rapid and that technical. But something like this is a different type of fun for a guitar player, I think. That where I like that technical aspect of it, I think something like this lets you really enjoy yourself as a musician. That you can almost turn your brain off and just walk around the stage and laugh with your bandmates. And I think there's something really great about that. So even though it's not really my cup of tea, I found myself, after listening to it this first time, really appreciating it in a way that I didn't expect.
Well, that's good. I mean, I see what you're saying though too, because like there are some bands where like Deftones said they're making the same album, since their first one. I mean, there are definitely bands out there that just don't kind of push the envelope or their limits of where they can go and experiment a little bit more. And it does sound like the same DNA is carried over from every single album with very little kind of variations. And I think that they, for the most part, probably, I can be biased because I do like them, but yeah, I could see that there's a common thread throughout, and then maybe many threads, kind of like, like you said, with like Bon Jovi's another great example. It's just kind of like the same album. But I think because it has so much content and it has such this incredible intoxicating vibe to it, it makes it something that honestly could be great as just background noise. It could be something that you just rock out to. It's good fuel, But yeah, I can see what you're saying for sure. There seems to be a lack of kind of pushing the envelope.
I also don't want it to be misconstrued as me shitting on this. I'm not trying to do that.
No one's taking this as you pooping on it, man. For sure. Like, we all have different opinions. I mean, this, I'm not as strongly into Bjork as you are, but we're allowed to have our differences.
But I think that it's also like the whole thing about a band kind of just this is what they do. I think my problem is that the style never latched on to me. But I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with it. This is just their gig. This is what they do, and their fan base loves them for it. And
all right.
Well, I tell you, oh, sorry to interrupt you. You said something that makes me so happy to hear, because when I'm showing people, because part of my gig is I get to hit people to music they've never heard, young people, old people, whatever, all ages. And when I come across, these tunes, I'm like, guys, check it. Like, whenever you're performing a song, or playing a song, I should say, there's two things. You're playing the song, which is like in the studio and it's perfect and everything has to be right. But then when the performance comes into play, I'm a big fan of finding every little hack and shortcut to say, okay, well, if I leave this finger down, then I can just move my others and the chords come into play easier. So I'm
Right.
freeing up as much mental real estate as possible to focus on, oh crap, I tripped on my cable, or oh my God, you see that bug in the front row. So it's like, I want to have all of this bandwidth open for the performance, and tunes like these leave so much room to just walk around and rock out and point at the crowd and just this is just rock and roll. There's
Yeah.
no way to explain that, and it's really cool to hear such another fantastic musician seeing that perspective.
Yeah, I very much think that's the case. That like, I love bands like Fear Factory, and I love bands like Meshuggah, and I love bands like Periphery, that they have like this incredible, like the musicianship. You just sit there and you're like this, and you just watch and you're like mesmerized by the technical prowess.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I can completely understand how, if you're not a musician, that is boring as hell to watch.
Right.
And with something like this, while like I enjoy playing that music and I enjoy writing that music and I do enjoy performing that music, I feel like performing stuff like this is got to be way more satisfying, because you can literally just, it's like Rob just said, you have so much empty space because it's not overly complex. And there are like some complexities here and there. I mean, it's not beginner level music, but it lets you enjoy the art of being a musician so much more, because you could just have fun.
And I think there's such well-written songs. Like I've done You Shook Me All Night Long, me on the acoustic, Brandy jumping up for a song because she can sing the crap out of this style of music. And it's like, just with a little banshee of a singer and an acoustic guitar, it's still AC/DC.
Yeah.
And I think that chameleon-esque ability of these type songs, it lends to it, being, what is this, 41 years old? Is that math right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is it 41 years old?
Yeah, like Grandpa Wendy over here. Yeah. So
I approve this message.
What's your favorite song on here? Because I have a straight out like favorite on this record. What's yours?
Mine?
Yeah.
I don't know. It has to be. I mean, I like What Do You Do for Money, Honey, and I don't know. I think that, Back in Black holds a special place in my heart because they kind of introduced me to this band when I was younger. So that'll always hold a very special place. But I've been listening a lot to What Do You Do for Money. Has been the one that's been kind of on constant rotation these last couple of weeks.
I only listened to it like twice. I could probably not tell you one. And the problem is, because of how I interpreted it and because of how I listened to it, I couldn't tell you if my favorite song, I just interpret it as my favorite AC/DC song. And I don't remember if it's on the album.
Just one giant song.
I have a favorite AC/DC song, maybe. I don't even know if I do. Come back to me.
My favorite AC/DC song is Money Talks, because it's a great melody. Da-da, da-da, da-da-da-da.
That's a great song.
Yeah, right?
That's not on this album?
No, that's, I think, I don't know.
No.
I got two things about this. So for me, which I'm noticing, this is strange, I've been listening to it on Apple Music.
You do this every time. There's bonus crap that you're like, oh yeah, well, what about track 17? It's like, well, there's only 12 on this album.
Thank you.
But there's like 5 versions of the album on Apple Music, and you just pick the one that happens to have like 2 bonus tracks.
Right? Yeah.
No.
No. It's all prepared for this.
On your version, what's the first song? Oh no, wait, am I an idiot? No, I'm not an idiot. What's the first song on yours?
Hell's Bells.
So
we're gonna discontinue Instagram, guys. So make sure you get over to Facebook or YouTube.
So on the original vinyl, the first tune is Back in Black. Back in Black, You Shook Me All Online, Have a Drink on Me, Shake a Leg, Rock and Roll, Noise Pollution. I know, I'm an idiot. I'm on the wrong side. Never mind.
I'm like, dude, that's impossible. It's side B.
Because no, you know what confused me though? Check it out, because on the back of it,
A and B. I know what confused you.
No, look. On the back
A,
of it,
B, C, D.
You see, it has Back in Black is the first song. You see?
No, it's the title of the record. Then it's the tracks of the song.
Okay, but where is it in the track listing then?
Back in Black?
Well, not in order. See, I'm an idiot. Okay. Anyway.
And back to Exhibit A.
I have two
Look to
comments.
your left, everybody, you'll see an idiot.
So first of all, Hell's Bells used to always piss me off when I heard it on the radio because I thought it was from Tolls when it started.
That.
Damn hell. And I was like, ooh, they're playing this on K-Rock. Hey, wait a second.
Yeah.
My favorite song on here is Shoot to Thrill, because that's just a fun rocker.
Oh, that's a good
That
one.
is a great
too.
song.
Yeah.
Iron Man, maybe that song was
Yep. Yeah.
killer song.
Yeah. I like the Bells and Hell's Bells. I think it could be interpreted as the sound of reckoning, like this force that's coming toward you, or it could also be the sound of mourning because this is the first album since Bond died. So, what's going on with your chin there, buddy?
I was saying she loves this perspective. It's just the worst angle ever.
It's very unflattering for any human being. It's very unflattering.
You guys, like backstage, you're missing like the.
You're missing James. He's
Yeah.
not over here. Oh,
James,
Mama Cub, what's up? Get over into
Mama Cub. I pinned it, guys. So you got to check it out on the Real Deal. We got cool stuff. We got sound effects and stuff. Come on.
That's not my mouth.
I mean,
You're a wizard, Harry.
you can't do that over on the other thing. We got it. We got all kinds of cool stuff. Here's a good one, you guys. All right, so now I'm going to pivot real fast, unless there's other things to say. Oh, we have some time to talk about this record. So,
well, I mean, one of the things I want to bring up, I think that, excuse me,
pardon you.
I agree with you saying, James, but I think that there's some versatility, versatility here. I think that the way Brian Johnson sings, replacing Bon Scott, that's huge shoes to fill. But then the way he emphasizes certain words, it's really interesting how musically they can convey emotions like music can, but the way he is able to kind of richly support that and drive it forward by not only his lyrics, but this choice of emphasis on certain words. Like he could sing a song like "What Do You Do for Money" and not really cursing except for bitch, but like he the way he chooses to emphasize certain words, you can feel that seething anger or animosity, whatever it is that's going for. And I just love that about him as a singer.
I definitely would say, just listening to it as a complete work. Again, I am sorry. I really don't know the band well enough to even recognize the previous singer's work, which is terrible in its own right.
I've Got Big Balls. That's the other singer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've got Big Ball.
Other ones too. What's his Highway to Hell? That's
Highway to Hell.
Yeah.
That's not Brian Johnson.
No.
Ooh.
It's a little more high and nasal.
Yeah.
Less razor blades, more like whiskey.
But I feel like in listening to it and listening to it as a complete work, something that I never took away from the band is I don't think any member of the band would have been disposable at this iteration of it. I think everybody works together as a very, very solid unit in that band. Everybody is looking for the same goal out of the music. And I took that away from it. And that's a pretty cool thing too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like when people think, in the broader stroke of people, when they think of Guns N' Roses, they think of Axl and Slash, right? They think of Slash. They don't think of Izzy. When people think of AC/DC, they see Angus Young and the Schoolboy with the SG, blah, blah, blah. But Malcolm is the hero, man.
Yeah.
He's the rhythm. He is, just the riffs.
Played one guitar for his entire career.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
right.
Fantastic. And that's just, I hope everyone is hoping over to Facebook and YouTube.
Hoping over or hopping?
Well, I think H-O-P-E.
Oh, did I put hoping?
So.
What a dummy. That was on me.
All good.
It's better than coccyx or whatever.
Oh my God.
Which I didn't change. I'm like, who are we going to pull in with
weird
this
hashtag? We may get some interesting people for that.
Right?
As soon as you said that, for some reason, it triggered me. Like half of my brain is made up of movie quotes. And I thought of Uncle Rico and Napoleon Dynamite telling Napoleon that his aunt broke her coccyx.
Yeah.
While she was jumping into sand dunes. That was the first thing that came to my mind.
I always double and triple check the spelling. And for whatever reason, I totally missed it. I was like, oh, son of a bitch. It didn't even redline that one. Okay.
It happens to the best of us. It's all good.
Yeah.
I do much worse.
I don't know. I think that the overall takeaway from this is I think there's something there for everybody, whether it's the ferocity of this, the relentless execution of being able to just drive forward with, a metal album like this and not lighten the mood at all. There's no ballads, like I said. There's no softer sounding song. It's just it's kind of, and I think that what makes this album kind of special is that you lost your singer, and that's kind of it. In an iconic singer too. It's like losing Robert Plant. But yet they were able to forge ahead. That's really rare with the same lineup minus the singer, right? Think about try to name some other bands that have done that in that short of time frame. Now I'm not talking like 10 years later with Blind Melon did, or Alice in Chains. I'm not saying where you found something almost decades later. When was the last time you heard a band that went from one year to the next year? and recovering from such a tremendous loss.
Yeah,
It's almost unheard of.
and that's well said, Mr. Tang. You know,
Oh,
the
yeah,
consistency.
Yeah, the consistency.
You know, Back in Black is a better record. Totally right, but there was a solid, 3 or 4 records back to back. Boom, 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 boom. What's the one that has? I think this was For Those About to Rock. Is that an album?
That's not on this album either.
No, you really didn't listen to this album. He's full of
This is
shit.
not a greatest
You
hit.
didn't even listen to this album, Rob. That's what happened. He asked me
swear
2 questions
on
like
everything
this.
I love. I did, and that was mostly just me being a jerk.
No. I'll tell you how I feel about this album.
Feels good to mingle with these laid-back country folk, don't it, Harry? I like it a lot.
That's how I feel.
A question for the both of you guys. 2 questions. Well, it's sort of one question 2 ways.
Question the fast.
What genre do you think this album was when it was released, and what genre do you think this album is now?
Blazing hip hop and R&B.
All right, Brian.
No, if I had to guess, I bet you it came out as like hard rock. I don't think heavy metal was as frequently used as some bands should have been labeled at, because this is definitely a heavy metal album, but I bet you it was labeled as hard rock.
Yeah, I agree.
You think that for when it was released and how it would be interpreted now as well, or?
For sure. If you think it's 1980 when this came out, right? And you think about all the other bands there and all the different iterations of metal, whether it's British steel, hair metal, glam, like there's metal, and you see that DNA in those other bands where, they were clearly influenced by this. So this is a metal album.
Yeah.
Now, to me, I would agree with you that it was probably at the time. I think it would be construed as like you were saying. I hadn't thought about it the way you explained it, and that was good.
Thank you, sir.
I would say to me, I know. I'm good. I'm out. I would have called it more hard rock right off the rip, and at the moment of release. Yeah. And I feel like, and this is at any given point, you guys could just be like, James isn't a part of this anymore. We're done with him. He's clearly just off his rocker. But I would say, unfortunately, to me, this today just ends up filed with classic rock.
Yeah, but what's classic rock? Because there was no classic rock then,
Well, of course,
you want to. That's why I mean, like, what did we grow up with? Like, some bands like Black Flag are technically classic rock. I mean, some of those punk bands of now. It's odd to say it, but they are classic rock. So,
dude, to a kid born today, 90. I always like to do this thing in my brain. So,
Hate Machine's a classic rock album.
Yeah, I mean,
Jesus.
I'm born in 83, so if you take 20 years before me as classic rock, if a kid's born in 2003, or 2013, does that make Backstreet Boys classic rock? You know what I mean?
I think there has to be some further separation in the distinguishment there, because I think there's a definite sound to that. To the like I'm thinking like Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, AC/DC. Like I wouldn't count Pretty Hate Machine as classic rock because it's not that sound.
Right.
And Grant, if you're looking from like a time perspective, would you label it as classic rock or bundle it together with classic rock? If it was just time alone, sure. But stylistically, you can't do that. If anything, I think Pretty Hate Machine might like constitute classic new wave to some degree.
I refer to something as classic rock is when I'm referring to a radio station or some sort of playlist, because quite honestly, like Led Zeppelin is elements of heavy metal or hard rock. I would never say like they're classic rock. They're not. They are heavy metal, rock and roll, so
I killed it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
There's some 17, 16, 18-year-olds on here, 15-year-olds. What do you guys think? Like I see this one for funny.
This is a great question that came in. So what's the difference
between classic gen? Yes.
I think it is.
It is. Yes, it is. They've been around for a very long time. So yes, that is classic gen.
You guys
what's the difference between heavy metal and metal? I just think it's a shorthand, way of saying heavy metal is metal. I don't think there's a difference. They're both synonymous. It's you don't feel like saying heavy, you got lazy at the mouth. But is that Jeremy's a Yankee fan?
Yeah.
I think heavy metal more so refers to classic metal, whereas metal is just an umbrella term for all the subgenres, including metal. No, I disagree.
See, but I see what you're saying there.
I get what you're saying, but I disagree.
Like, all right, so Jeremy's talking about Kiss here. So I would say like older Kiss, like Rock and Roll All Night, Deuce, Strutter, like that's classic rock sort of stuff. But then Animalize Asylum, then get into the makeupless 80s stuff.
That's more metal.
That's metal. Yeah. I mean, at the time that was heavy metal, you know. Happy birthday, Paul.
But I don't think I still would call it classic rock, because when those albums came out, they were not considered classics. You know, I mean, rarely does someone in contemporary times get labeled classic. It's rare. It has to be something iconic and monumental. So I think that maybe older Kiss is just considered heavy rock, you know, hard rock. But I don't think that they were probably synonymous with heavy metal. You know, Black Sabbath was. I mean, that definitely, that buzzword was around for sure, because you have this doom sound that was.
I think that's a big part of it. Is that, like you nailed that, like that doom type of sound.
Yeah, gloom, man. Just that there is this ominous presence within this music, and it doesn't have to be about, you know, the subject matter, you know, devil music. No, I just think, you know, it's just this ominous feel. What'd you say?
White Zombie reference.
Deep Purple. Yeah, Deep Purple's another heavy metal band from. Yeah, absolutely. I love Deep Purple. Yeah,
but he's saying some of these, you know, some of that it's the pendulum, right? So Dylan makes a good point here. Wu-Tang Dylan. You know, Rush got heavier towards the end, but then some bands their edge along the way, like the latter Zeppelin is not Hammer of the God Zeppelin on the way out, you know?
Yeah. But that's music, right? It ebbs and flows, and like James was saying at the very beginning of this, there's some bands that go and meander through different phases, and they push the envelope or they bring it back. Whereas there's some bands, like AC/DC is a good example of not really kind of branching too far from the lane they're in, you know, which of these other bands that really split off into the woods and get sidetracked. And, you know, and that's both are cool. It's what you're looking for.
What? I think AC/DC, you know, maybe just to tie it up, they almost get a pass by being the same thing over and again, because any other band, if they put out the same record twice, 3 times, 30 times, it'd be like, all right already. But it's like AC/DC just put out a new record and it sounds like AC/DC, and it's like they'll sell out the tour because people just know
it's comfort food. You know, it's like your favorite comfort food, and they do it so well. I think if they didn't do it well, I think if their live shows were crap, I think then people would turn on it and they'd be like, nah, give me something different. But because they do it with such finesse and such precise execution, you can't really argue with it. It's always reliable, you know?
Yes.
It's very accurate.
I think it's something anyone should check out. I mean, like we said in the beginning of my quick little guitar medley, like if you don't know these songs, you should. And if you do, good for you. And if you know, pretended to listen to the album but didn't really listen to it, that kind of sucks, but it's all good.
It's on you, man. Black Sabbath is the first heavy metal band, but you could also say they're classic rock too. At the beginning with Paranoid and Iron. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. They are.
I mean, what they called metal once upon a time is so far from metal now.
Oh gosh, right? Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, just something pops in my head right now. The Lamb of God next to Black Sabbath. I mean, they're two different things, two different beasts.
That's it's funny you said that. That's the first thing that popped into my mind. Like Lamb of God is a heavy metal band.
Yeah, I think
that is not the same thing.
Yeah, because I haven't watched the Redneck video in so long, and I watched it the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, this is funny.
Even like Lamb of God, you know, Pantera, like still like a night and day difference.
Yeah, and there's a clear influence there from Pantera. And Pantera had really paved the way for I guess a quicker metal, like not such elongated.
It was
songs,
like thrash, but it was
aggressive,
more heavier.
I think Pantera quintessentially sums up Southern metal.
Yeah, that's good.
Sludgy.
Yeah, sludge. Yep, for sure.
Cool.
Nice. Well, nice
job,
guys.
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Right, let's see if we can segue with this one.
Chancho, when you are a man, sometimes you wear stretchy pants in your room. It's for fun.
And on that note, let me tell you guys, when you get your jeans, get them from American Eagle, because they put this elastic inside the denim and it'll change your life. All right.
Yeah, man. Oh man, I was listening to one story before we leave AC/DC. I was listening to AC/DC before this episode, and my middle child, I gave him guacamole and chips while I was making chicken soup, so just to hold them at bay. And he ran out of chips and he wanted more chips. I was like, yeah, you got more chips. He's like, Dad, check it out. I'm in a hot tub of guacamole.
You made
point. I'm like, all right, man.
You made your guac from scratch, or
No, I like to say I did, but no, this was a store bought one.
Some of the store bought ones aren't bad.
Oh yeah, this one's good. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, if you can make your own, dude, so good.
If you make your own, what are the key players?
You gotta have lime. I don't know why people leave lime out so much. I don't know why people crap on lime. You have to have fresh cracked pepper as opposed to just already, ground up pepper. So to me, I'm a big crack that bad boy. Lime's got to be in there. I like red onion. I know a lot of people don't like red onion. I think red
I
onion
want to
is,
chew it.
yeah, and red onion is perfect. If you want to get fancy, if I'm feeling kind of, I'll put a hard boiled egg in there. But
Interesting.
Yeah, try it out.
Changing the game.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's got to have lime. Lime to me is like. It's like
Dude.
it must. It's like you said about bitters with old fashions. What's an old fashioned without bitters, right? So it's like
That's just a glass of milk.
guacamole without fresh cracked pepper and lime. I'm like, I don't want this, and I will not eat it.
So here's a question for you. Do you ever put just lime juice or do you put lime zest?
Oh yeah, lime zest. I mean, if I'm in a rush,
My
and I'm
man.
just making something, then I'll squeeze it. But because at least I have the essence. But yeah, zest, dude, all the way. When I cook, zest all the way, and I'll use the juice too. But that's where the flavor is, man. Oh.
So it's a weird thing. Like guacamole is a huge thing in Arizona, and the first time we got it at a restaurant, I'll never forget this. This is like going back like 2 or 3 years at this point. The first time we were out here, and we got guacamole at like a Mexican place out here. There are pomegranate seeds in the guacamole.
Really?
And I didn't know what to think about that. I didn't say anything. I just wrote it off as just something this place did.
Huh.
But a lot of places do it. It's a thing, and it's a game changer.
You like it?
I like if I'm in the mood for it. Holy crap! Like it makes.
You never even heard of that. That's amazing.
It makes it's a big Southwest thing, but it makes such a difference to your guac that if you have it like with the lime and the lime zest, and then you put pomegranate seeds in it, you are not the same person you were when you went into that.
Now, pomegranate seeds, the flavor. I can see the flavor, the sweetness going with like the salty and everything. That sounds incredible. But the chew of it. You gotta fight that a bit.
You get through it. It's only a little weird at first bite, and then it's just like, wow, I didn't realize what I was missing this whole time.
Yeah, I gotta try that.
Wow, yeah, it's worth the shot, And if it's not good, send it to me. I'll eat the rest of it. Put it with dry ice.
My brown guac.
What'd you say?
Can you grow avocados in your tropical climate or no?
I really would like to grow avocados. I really want to grow in my backyard a lime tree and an orange tree. That way I have constant source of guacamole supplies and old-fashioned supplies right next to it.
There you go.
I think that's perfect. So then all I got to do is go in the backyard.
There's my old-fashioned tree. That's my guac tree.
You nailed it. And right in between, I'll plant the avocados. All good.
Oh,
Gonna get a small agave. I'll make my own tequila.
Nice.
I'm just winning across the board.
Very cool. Nice, Charlie Sheen.
Except never. I'm not even going to say that out loud. So, what else are we talking about today, guys?
Well, it's good to mingle with these laid-back country folk, don't it?
I already did that one.
Yeah, you did do that.
Anyways, I was wondering if you would like to join me in my quarters this night for some toast.
That's an odd segue. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's an odd segue.
I meant to hit, but we're just gonna roll with it. So,
topic A.
So yeah, I mean, with time constraints, which way you want to go?
Let's start with crate digging, man. I mean, I don't know if people know that terminology, so to kind of take it back. So crate digging, you'll see it in like the hashtags I use. I'll say welcome crate diggers. Crate digging records are held in, crates. They're big, square, chunky things. So when you go to like thrift shops or record stores, they're always in crates, and you just like thumbing through them. Me and Rob and James used to go record hopping, find stores, and just kind of like bar hopping, but record hopping. So we kind of want to talk about that and just taking it back to some of those old record stores and journeys that we had. And I brought some albums that have been some special ones I found. That's a beauty. So like when you had stores like Tower Records, The Wiz, or fill in the blank of
Sam Goody.
Yeah, Sam Goody, whatever it was, right? Pick a disc, pick disc. Yeah, the wall. Like you had your standards, but like when you go to a place that's like a mom and pop shop or a thrift shop, like, and you're thumbing through these crates, like it's any man's or any girl's game. Like you don't know what you're gonna get. It's always fully stocked. Like, yeah, we definitely have that Ozzy rare album. No, it's like it's literally finding the diamond in the rough. So it's exciting, the thrill of it, the smell of it, and you're like, oh, what? Yes,
Right.
And if you're with your friends and one of your friends got something for you, you're like, all right, that's cool. That's cool. I hope he puts that down. And as soon as you do, you swoop in like a goddamn vulture. Like I remember one time we went to Jersey and I was just eyeballing your stack. And I'm like, he doesn't have all the money for that shit. He's gonna put something back. And sure enough, you did. But you sneaky bastard, you put it away without me seeing. And then we got to the car. I'm like, where's that first person that owns up? I put it back. It's like, damn it. No, Rob, no.
That the Lucky Charms time?
Yeah. Yeah, Lucky Charms.
You know, it was such a special experience. You know, this is before, I mean, eBay was around, but that's no fun. Like digging, like on your hands and knees, digging, flipping,
treasure hunting.
That's what it felt like. And even like I remember my first time going out to Amoeba Records they had 3 stores in California, and they had new records there and CDs and all sorts of stuff. But on the bottom row below every, all like the new stuff, they had like the dollar records, but they would hide in there like super rare stuff. So you still had the incentive to dig. And that was just the coolest thing. I remember at Tapeville, one of us, Ryan, found, Dark Side of the Moon with the posters and the stickers, but then another one of us is being a little bit of a girl. And it's like, I want that one. And then, one of us got that one. Yeah, but that was a good.
Yeah, it came with the poster. Yeah, that's what's cool. That's what's great about going to used thrift shops and things like that is like, you'll find them. They're a bit dinged up and everything, but like it's a first edition, right? It's a first pressing. So the sound is awesome. It's not been messed with. And if you're really lucky and someone took care of it, that's a huge score. But if they were really awesome lovers of music, then they kept the lyric sheet with it. If it came with one, they kept like some of them came with stickers or posters, and it's just killer. It's exciting. It's and it's big. So I mean, these records are big. So like the books are bigger than the book I flashed at the beginning for a CD. It's still enticing, but it's not like a record where it's just like yeah.
And like just the tangibleness of it, like CDs are cool, but the plastic and this feels very organic to me, like an old book, it smells like an old book, the paper, the cardboard. And like, but Brian and I are both the oldest of our siblings. You had an older sister, James. So I imagine she had a record collection or a tape collection probably.
Not so much.
She loses her into it, but it's okay.
Not so much, but like, I never got into vinyl the way you guys did, but I have a very distinct memory of Tapeville and hunting through CDs when they still came in cardboard.
Yes.
Yes. And that's probably my greatest experience with it, because you still actually get a little bit of what Rob's talking about, like the odor that they carry with them, because it's still a piece of cardboard that's been printed on. And a part of me always thought like, I would watch my sister. I have a very good memory of her opening up the box for Master of Puppets and like tearing it to pieces and throwing it out. And I'm like, how old was I at the time? Like 11 years old, thinking to myself, like my mom force fed me this whole thought that you never throw anything away that might be a collectible at some point. And I could think to myself, oh, maybe you shouldn't do that. And I could only imagine that nowadays, if you had that intact, it might actually be like somewhat of a collectible.
Definitely.
To have that like original cardboard sleeve for the CD, even though it's not the same as vinyl, it won't ever carry the same weight as vinyl, but it's still something that's just exceedingly uncommon. I
agree.
I've been redoing getting, because it's just not feasible. I'm not going to get a shelving system for my CDs anymore. Like so I've been putting them in like a CD case. And I was going through some of the old plastics, and some of my oldest CDs have like the it's like, I don't know what it was called. It's like a security bar. It was like this holographic, silvery, crappy
dog bone.
Yeah, the dog bone that would never come off. It would leave this stickiness to it, and it would always collect hair and lint. Do you remember? Like, you don't see that on CDs anymore.
No.
Well, you don't see CDs, period. So
I used to, when I was adamant about keeping my cases and everything, and they always had that stupid freaking dog bone thing on them. I learned the trick, man. Isopropyl alcohol gets that crap right off.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I would just wipe down my cases. It would leave a nice dull spot on the case wherever you put the alcohol, but it got the sticky crap off. But yeah.
Yeah, Amoeba. I remember, Rob, you came back from Amoeba and you had gotten me some stuff. And one of the things you had in your bedroom was it's like their newsletter. I don't know if they had like a quarterly or monthly newsletter where they put together this like little pamphlet, this book, and it was filled with like art from like the different employees and stuff like that. And there was this great cartoon, kind of reminiscent of like the Simpsons type art. And it was this monkey hanging from a tail from a tree branch. and just eating a record. And it stuck with me. 'Cause, I mean, monkeys are awesome. I love
Stuck
music.
on
The
you.
fact that it's eating music, you know, and now it's permanently stuck on me. I was like, well, we're gonna ink this on my chest. So that's for sure.
Chest is too easy. Let's do the side of the rib.
Tribe of the monkey. Yeah, it's a side. Yeah, it's a killer spot.
So I don't have any. I don't own any vinyl. It was never a part of my my collection. But in the process of like looking through things, I did find the last CD that I purchased in a store, and that was actually a Bjork album, and it was Volta. So it's kind of like it just seems semi-pertinent, you know, like it does have everything that comes with
100% pertinent. Yeah.
it has like the book that goes in it. And I mean, even this, like, it's not vinyl, but the art is quite pretty.
Yeah, the packaging is cool. The way that opens up like that.
And,
yeah,
like,
I'd never really seen that.
A little icon on your phone or on your desktop. Like, that's something special.
It's something you can hold, something you can look through. And like you were saying before about eBay, like you can find stuff on eBay, but you can't touch eBay.
Right.
And I think that's the like what we all talk about and what we all have this like incredible nostalgia for is that it's the hunt and it's like the intimacy of like flipping through and touching each piece and trying to find that special piece.
Yeah, and I mean now vinyl is pretty popular, so you can go to Target or certain stores and you'll see it. But like
Bed Bath and Beyond.
Get out of here, really?
Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yeah, so I mean, you can find it. It's fun because like I brought some stuff that I had that are like just rare. So like you'll find things like 45s. Like I found like the Cramps on 45. This is the one at that place in Jersey is a split. So you get a lot of splits that are on 45s or 10 inches where it's like the Bled and Alexis on Fire. Or you find like weird bootleggy things like this where it's like the Misfits, Spook City, USA. So like weird stuff like that. Or just random bands like from grunge eras like Skin Yard. But then you'll find like just things that aren't in circulation as much, like the Labyrinth. Come on, like
that's awesome. That's a good one,
right? This is one of my other favorites. I found this in New York City.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
So this has got the Quake soundtrack on here. It's got Dead Souls Suck, which a mix. It's got
was it Generation Records or something on like Sullivan Street, right?
Yeah. What's odd is this is through Island Nothing and TBT, so you can.
But no Halo, right?
No Halo. Nope.
That was going to be my next question. What Halo?
I imagine that's very valuable.
Yeah, I don't see it very often. Or you'll find weird things like that, like albums that were recorded live and they pressed a pressing of like, Ozzy Osbourne live. And it's like, oh, cool. So it's like cool things like that. One of my
playing guitar in that, is that Gillis? Brad Gillis?
Yeah.
Brad?
Yeah, Brad Gillis. And you had Rudy Sarzo on bass, and then drums was Tony Aldridge. But like you have things like
right after Randy died, before Jake was in.
Yeah, it's still killer. It's a great album. I remember learning about bootlegs on vinyl, and that's what made me really dive really deep into like crate digging. It was a friend of the family. I was getting into Led Zeppelin. He's like, "Have you gotten to the fourth album yet with Stairway?" I was like, "No, not yet." And he's like, "Are you familiar with Stairway though?" I'm like, "I am." He's like, "Well, they used to play live every once in a while, Stairway to Gilligan's Island as like a joke." And he's like, if you find it on vinyl, someone pressed it as a bootleg. He's like, it's out there. You can find it. I was like, get the hell out of here. So I don't know if that was ever just like an urban legend, but like that, the idea that someone could press something on vinyl that was a bootleg, like you were getting on CDs, because we grew up with CDs on with bootlegs. I was like, whoa, that was a game changer for me. So that's when I would like seek out weird stuff like that.
And I still believe that there is so many, there's like Nugs or another thing I can't recall right now, but places where all these bootlegs now exist in a digital forum. And you can just listen to all this digital music, bootlegs, like every Grateful Dead show, every Pearl Jam show, every Fish show, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's stuff that I think is on vinyl that's just not out there. I have a Dark Side of the Moon that I looked it up. It's super rare. And it was like before the record came out, they were testing out some of the material and someone pressed it to vinyl and just put them out there. And it's like, whoa, like that's not out there in the same capacity to listen to it. And James, I know you're not a vinyl guy, but you're an audio guy and you're a fidelity guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you had like what's Macintosh or what's this other company, Marantz, they make this high-end tube, equipment, and then run the vinyl through there with some 6 speakers.
Yeah, you can't.
Phones on even running through that with the warmth of it. Ooh.
Yeah, through like a tube power amp with headphones is probably insane. But
you go on Reverb, there's a whole section of these vintage used pieces of high fidelity audio equipment.
I
So
probably have some at my house in Rockland.
you may.
And
That's where I was going.
that's why I keep telling you, if you ever want to head over there, you're more than welcome to.
That's
You probably
great.
find a gold mine, quite literally.
No, I can't take anything until you approve it in person.
Well, someone asked earlier about headphones or speakers. I used to have big, tall cabinet speakers, like half my height. I gave them to somebody. I wish I could just
Again, stuff like that's super valuable too.
Yeah, it was from the 70s. The sound on that thing was unmatched. And I've bought, cabinet speakers since then. I have surround systems. Nothing beats those two giant cabinets. And I would just sit there and I'd hook up my light box, turn out the lights, throw on some incense. Man.
Great from 1972.
Oh, God, it was fantastic. I miss those damn things. I wish I still have them. It's one thing I gave away that I wish I didn't. And I was like, it's been a couple things.
Something I think that's good to reinforce to people that are just like, look at these guys like living in the past. In the scheme of things, if you go into a store that has tons of vinyl or that has crates full of music and things like that, you can go into those places and find inspiration.
Yeah.
If you're on eBay or if you're online and you're looking for something, you have to know what you're looking for. If you're in one of these places, you could be flipping, have no interest in the band whatsoever, but the cover is interesting and that catches your eye. And just the cover alone might be inspiring enough for you to spend the $5 or whatever it is to just be like, it's $5. Who cares? And then maybe you find a whole new avenue to find something completely different.
And honestly, like it gives you the opportunity, especially with used stuff, in the thrift store or something. Like I was someplace in Jersey one time, like literally a thrift store, like not a record store in any capacity. And I got like the entire Genesis Peter Gabriel catalog for like $1.
Yeah.
For every one of those records. And I didn't even know what it was. I saw the cover on one of them. Like, what the hell is this? And then I realized, I was like, wow. And you're right. Inspiration. I saw this. Follow me for a sec. We drive every Saturday to go get some breakfast in some place, and it kind of goes through the country a bit. And Sam saw a chimney coming out in the woods, and then there's a collapsed house around it. And we were driving. It was around Christmas time. I was like, wow, like people lived there. Someone had Christmas morning there, and now look at it. It's a shell of what it was. Well, these used records that you can get for a nickel, $1, $10, whatever, somebody threw that on a turntable and heard it for the first time when it came out. Yeah. Someone heard that and said, wow, I like AC/DC, and that's who I am. I'm going to wear a jean jacket and a chain and studded. Like people's identities were formed around these classic pieces of vinyl. And now you get to, it's like a second life, a third life, a fourth life. There's energy in there. There's vibes in there. Something spiritual connected to this. It's just a needle cut something in a piece in that wax, and then there it is. It's really cool, I think.
That's the cool thing about those old records too, is you're getting somebody's old stuff. Like you said, there is inspiration there. Like a lot of them have like pencil or pen on them. Someone's written things on it, and it's like there's a story there. Like you don't know the whole story, and that's intriguing. And going crate digging or going, record hopping, it's fun. You get to people watch. You're just quietly sitting there listening to other people, like the shenanigans going on. It's just cool. Listen to the stories, or like you'll be next to someone. And like you'll thumb. I've had this a couple of times. I'm thumbing through something, and I'll pass, and the dude next to me will be like, "Bro, you may want to check that album out." I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And then you make a friend, or you got a conversation going. And people in music stores, it was always fun. There's this great guy, Dino. I'll never forget him in Nyack and Main Street. Like he just loved people that love music, and I'd be in there all the time. And he would just be giving stuff away for free. He's like, "I'm like, you don't have to do that, man." He's like, "You love music, just take this. It's not like it's weird. Just try it." So it's like, and then I used to love going to find like crappy records, ones that artists I didn't care about, and they like, or if they were artists I care about, they were just scratched beyond play. Like they were like a nickel. You would get them at like thrift shops, but you could repurpose them. I used to melt them down and make them into bowls or vases, and that's like really.
I still have that. Maybe.
Oh, do you? Right on. Cool.
Yeah, man. I think that's like the overarching concept of what we're trying to do here, and I think now that we kind of mapped out the next few weeks, it allowed people to kind of ride this wave with us. But it's this immense appreciation. 3 guys within a handful of years of each other who bonded over music and martial arts and other things that we'll branch off into as the weeks progress. But it all comes back to this, just talking about music and how it makes us feel. And you guys watching, are so lucky, because for so long music just existed in a pretty purely digital format. And now vinyl's back. The vinyl, I mean, if you look, it's just on a way upward trajectory where you can get it when mom goes to look for a new bath curtain, or rug, you're like, Mom, I'm gonna go over to the vinyl section, maybe a Taylor Swift record, who knows? But like, who cares? Like, it's there and it's tangible music, and it's create your own stories. Dig in.
Yeah, and I think that like talking about stuff like this, whatever it is you love, whether it's sports, music, finding people to talk about it with. I've had amazing conversation, and you get to know your friends better because like you're talking about the music, but then you start dissecting something about it, whether it's the technicality of music, whether it's music itself, the sentiments conveying, the lyrics, and then you start learning more about how like your friends think or like what they kind of identify with and what their opinions are, and it's okay to have differing opinions. Where did that come from? So it's like it creates this amazing experience that starts with the art of somebody else's art. And then you get all these other things like Rob was saying, other people's life, the scope of like that someone else listens the first time in 1972. And now here I am listening to it in 2010, and this belongs to somebody else. And here's a note for her husband or whoever this person
right.
was. It's like, it's just
First love. You always see the
when I
names.
do that. When I listen, I'll just put my finger on like the indentation of the writing of someone writing in a note that this is my, I don't know. It just gives me, I'm like, I'm in their living room or in their basement. I'm like, oh, this is crazy.
Time capsule.
Yeah, for sure.
Why are you being Mariah Carey over here?
Because I don't know, for some reason it was pressing against, maybe it's the hat and it's hurting. So I was just
trying.
Is that Mariah
You're
Carey?
rocking the Bond hat.
Mariah Carey.
The Brian Johnson hat. Was that on purpose there?
I don't know, because I wore it last week too. So,
but he kind of wears a hat like that,
He does. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, I'm very happy with what happened today.
I am too. Yeah, this is good. Yeah.
Let's see what we can do. Let's see what this one does.
Let's save our other topic for next week.
This is my boomstick.
All right, so what do we got? We got Nirvana next week, right? Nevermind.
Nevermind.
Yes.
Yeah, Nirvana.
Now, I'm going to say something as a little teaser here. I believe that Nevermind, of children who came of age in the 90s, which all of us did, except for Brian. So all of us did in the 90s is when we, reached puberty and such. That was probably one of the most biggest records of that decade.
Absolutely.
Easily.
And I remember when Kurt died, but I don't remember. I don't know. We'll get into that next time because I have a story about that. But yeah, I'm curious to see your guys' take on it. I'm actually excited to listen to it front to back because I haven't done that in many years.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's going to be a good one, man. Yeah, it's an iconic album. And I mean iconic not just for the band, I think for music in general, what it did for the culture, the counterculture. Yeah, we'll talk about it next week. I don't want to dive into it.
Go ahead.
I feel like we could really get sidetracked very, very quickly right now.
Very easily.
Yeah, well, no, let's leave them hanging. One and more. So, anyone have any plugs or anything cool coming up before we go? I think we should end with a little what's going on in the world. Check this out. Check that out. You got anything you want people to check out?
Yes, James, go for it. What do you got, buddy?
I got nothing really going on. Kind of just more of the same. Just waiting to get a shot.
Where did you get a shot? What about you, Rob? Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, actually, I do have something, but I guess it's kind of nothing.
Well,
it's kind of nothing, kind of something.
It's all for me.
I kind of want to record a version of the theme song from the Predator movies. That
yeah.
But I kind of want to do that with a lot of distorted guitar and a lot of distorted bass and some really, really messy synths, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. Nice. So I might try and have that all put together, and I can give it to Rob, and he can push the button, and something will happen.
I'll push the
button
by
next week.
Yeah, I found a site to get really cool button pushing stuff in there. We didn't get to the comic stuff today, so maybe we can do that next week. I had some cool stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
graphic novels. I think so. Yeah,
I got some cool stuff for that too.
I think it was funny because we were talking last week after the show ended. It's like next time we talk, there'll be a new president, and next time we talk, I think I'll have my my new guitar, the pretty purple one.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Perhaps a quad cortex. I don't know that too. So
what did you say? I missed it.
It's okay. It's not appropriate. I need my beep button. Bleep, bleep. But yeah, so it's exciting. Brian, you got anything cool?
I don't think so.
Set your house on fire? No,
I haven't set my house on fire, so that's good, right? Yeah.
I didn't listen to the message where you mentioned something. I can only imagine in that message you may have said something about it. I didn't realize that was an actual thing.
You want to tell a story? You want to tell a story real fast before we go? That's a good way to end.
45 seconds. Go
Not
for
my
it.
finest moment. Yeah. So we moved into this house, and we were living here too long, and we were taking down an old deck. So it's an old house. My house is 116 years old. It's old, and it's unique. And there's an old deck in the back. So I ripped up the deck, and after we were done with it, put it all in the shit in the garage, and then me and my brother-in-law and my wife were all outside having a fire pit, just getting silly and just celebrating. Like, yeah, all right, cool. Some changes, right? And then it rained that night. We all went our separate ways, passed out. It rained, and then the next morning we were gonna go out to the store, and I was like, oh, I should clean this up, right? Now, mind you, it rained. It's just a pile of ashes. Not my finest moments. The way I tested to see if there was anything hot in there is what I did is I stuck my hands in the ashes. I just both my hands like.
In all honesty, it had rained overnight. It rained overnight. No one's holding that against you, I don't think.
Right. So I didn't get burned, so I just dumped it. Now I have a metal garbage can, but it was all the way across the other yard. The plastic one was right where I was going, so I was like, fuck it. So I threw it in there. And then the whole family got in the car, we drove to the store. And then we're driving back. It's a summer day, it's beautiful. I got the windows down. And I was like, man, someone's got a fire. It's a good fire smell, right? Mind you, I don't know. It's my house on fire, but it smells like a great fire. Little do I know, there was like the tiniest of ember in there. Threw it in a garbage can. Who knew what accelerant was in there? Lit it up. I had the garbage can by the electrical, where the electrical comes out of the house. So I lit the whole house. Thankfully, the house is aluminum siding, so it's old school. So that's what saved it. And yeah, I burnt the whole side. It was all exterior. It never got inside. So when we got the house, there's a western window, but they had covered it up. And when I renovated that room, I found out there was a window. I was like, oh, Christy, we should totally splurge and fix this window. I get western sun. It'd be great. She's like, not in the budget. Don't do it. I'm like, okay. Thankfully, I listened to her because the fire inspector's like, bro, if that was a real window, it would have exploded in and game, set, match your house. It's like, cool. So yeah, set fire.
That's crazy.
But I got new updated electrical box out of it. So not my finest moment. It was displaced for about a month. It's good times, man.
Well, you're not going to have to replace the panel anytime soon, so there's something.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, not my finest moment. Yeah.
I couldn't hold it against you. I might very well have done the same damn thing. Like the only thing that I might have done differently is I probably wouldn't, even if it had rained, I wouldn't have had the peace of mind to take a hose and saturate it completely. I would have said it rained last night.
I put my hands in it. Like, I'm telling you, it was like the scene in Kickboxing where they get the glass on their gloves. Like, I was like,
yeah.
Like no amber, nothing. And I was like, okay, well.
Wow.
It's not like
it's something rekindle it in the garbage.
Man, who knows what I threw out? I mean, I've been doing a bunch of renovation work. I probably threw something out I shouldn't have. Maybe like an old paint can. I don't know. So, two X's against me, right? Should be throwing that crap out.
You're off today.
I wouldn't hold it against you. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Good times.
It happens, man. It happens to all of us.
But yeah,
like comics.
Comics, right? Yeah. Still working on that phone booth. That's the only other new thing going on. Still kind of working on the glass etching.
Cool. You should post an update on the Facebook page, which you all should be following. Which I assume you're watching us there. Let's see who's watching us where. All right, 1 on Facebook and then 3 on YouTube. Thank you for joining us, everyone, so very much. We'll see you next week for Nirvana. Other cool things. Thank you, Dylan and Jeremy and.
Yeah, Jeremy, what record store in New York City, buddy? If you're still on, curious. It's a bunch. It's a gang of record stores in New York City.
I don't know how many are left, unfortunately, after this COVID. Yeah.
This is
Carolyn Massa. Thank you. Who's that? Your cousin, Brian?
Yeah, it's my cousin Carolyn.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. So until next time.